November 30, 1944. John Brown Shipyard, Clydebank, Scotland. Princess Elizabeth, 18 years old, watched Britain launch its largest battleship. 44,500 tons standard displacement. 51,420 tons fully loaded. 814 feet long, 108 feet beam, 8 15-inch guns. Guns designed in 1912. 32 years old. Naval architects worldwide criticized the decision, installing weapons older than most crew members on a modern battleship. German Bismarck used 15-inch guns designed 1934. American Iowa class mounted 16-inch guns designed 1938. Japanese Yamato carried 18-inch guns designed 1937. Britain's newest battleship carried guns from the First World War. Critics called it obsolete. Admiralty called it practical. Turrets existed. Guns proven. Development time saved. 2 years minimum, but age meant nothing if weapons worked. HMS Vanguard's 32-year-old guns outperformed modern 16-inch weapons in accuracy. Rate of fire exceeded American and German equivalents. Penetration matched newer designs despite smaller caliber. Reliability surpassed everything afloat. The obsolete weapons proved superior. 1939. Admiralty faced strategic problem. Lion-class battleships ordered. 4 ships planned. 3 triple 16-inch turrets each. 12 16-inch guns per ship. Production capacity insufficient. 16-inch gun development incomplete. New fire control systems untested. Estimated completion date 1943 earliest. Likely 1944. Germany launched Bismarck April 1939. Tirpitz launched April 1939. Japan building Yamato class. 18-inch main armament. Royal Navy needed capital ships immediately. Waiting until 1944 meant numerical inferiority through critical war years. Convoy protection required heavy units. Fleet operations demanded battleship strength. 4 Lion-class ships too slow to build. Alternative examined. Britain possessed surplus 15-inch guns. Queen Elizabeth-class battleships, 1913 through 1915. Commissioning, 8 ships built, 15-inch Mark I guns. Courageous-class battlecruisers, 1916 through 1917 commissioning, 3 ships built, 4 twin 15-inch turrets each. Converted to aircraft carriers, 1924 through 1930. Turrets removed, guns stored, 4 twin turrets available, 8 15-inch guns total. No manufacturing required, no development time, no testing delays. Install existing weapons on new hull. Criticism immediate. 15-inch obsolete versus 16-inch. Smaller caliber means less power. Older design means inferior performance. Naval experts dismissed concept. Modern battleship needs modern guns. Admiralty calculations different. 15-inch Mark I gun, combat proven. Jutland, 1916. Warspite hit Giulio Cesare at 26,400 yards. 1940. Longest battleship-to-battleship hit ever recorded. Barham, Valiant, Malaya, Queen Elizabeth, all 15-inch armed ships. Extensive combat records. Reliability established. Accuracy demonstrated. Penetration adequate. Gun characteristics. 42 caliber length. 1,938 pound shell. 2,458 feet per second. Muzzle velocity. 33,550 yards. Maximum range at 30-degree elevation. American 16-inch 50 caliber. 2,700 pound shell. 2,500 feet per second. 42,000 yards. Maximum range. German 15-inch 47 caliber. 1,764 pound shell. 2,690 feet per second. 38,000 yards. British 15-inch fired lighter shell, but proven reliability. American 16-inch more powerful, but unproven in combat. German guns good but irrelevant, belonged to enemy. Question became, use proven weapons immediately, or wait years for unproven weapons. Development time decisive. New 16-inch guns required 3 years minimum development. Proof testing 6 months. Production tooling 12 months. Manufacturing per gun 18 months. Total time 4 to 5 years from design to installation. Existing 15-inch turrets needed modification only. Elevation increased from 20 degrees to 30 degrees. Armor thickness increased. Remote power control added for training. Flash protection improved. Modernization time, 18 months per turret. 4 turrets total, overlapping work schedules. Completion within 2 years. Time savings, 3 years minimum. 3 years during war meant operational battleship 1943 versus 1946. Strategic value immense. Modified Lion-class design begun July 1939. Hull lengthened to 814 feet, 4 inches. Beam maintained 108 feet. 4 twin turrets instead of 3 triple turrets. A and B turrets forward. X and Y turrets aft. Displacement increased to 44,500 tons standard. 51,420 tons full load. Armor scheme improved over King George V class. Belt armor 14 inches, maximum thickness. Deck armor 6 inches over magazines. Bulkheads 11.5 inches. Turret faceplates 13 inches. Barbettes 13 to 11 inches. Conning tower 14 inches. Underwater protection designed to withstand 1,300 pounds. TNT equivalent. Most comprehensive damage control system ever installed. British warship. Protection exceeded King George V class, matched or exceeded most contemporary battleships. Propulsion, 4-shaft arrangement. 4 Parsons, single reduction, geared turbines. 130,000 shaft horsepower, designed output. 8 Admiralty 3-drum boilers. Working pressure 350 pounds per square inch. Temperature 700 degrees Fahrenheit. Fuel capacity 4,850 tons oil. 427 tons diesel. Range 8,250 nautical miles at 15 knots. Design speed 30 knots. Actual trials speed 31.57 knots. Fastest British battleship ever. Propellers 14 feet 9 inches diameter. 3-bladed initially, changed to 5-bladed inboard shafts to reduce vibration. Unsuccessful, vibration persisted. Speed nevertheless impressive. Secondary armament, 16 5.25-inch dual-purpose guns, 8 twin mountings, Mark I guns, 45 caliber, elevation -5 degrees to +70 degrees. Surface range 24,600 yards. Anti-aircraft ceiling 46,000 feet. Rate of fire 10 to 12 rounds per minute per barrel. Combined firepower 192 rounds per minute. Effective surface and air weapon. Tertiary armament-focused anti-aircraft defense. 73 40mm Bofors guns. 10 sextuple mountings. 1 twin mounting. 11 single mountings. Most comprehensive anti-aircraft armament, any British battleship. Lesson learned. Prince of Wales loss. Japanese bombers sank Prince of Wales, December 1941. 20mm guns insufficient. 40mm Bofors superior range, superior hitting power. Vanguard received maximum possible installation. Additionally fitted with American Mark 37 directors for 5.25-inch guns. Type 275 radar on each director. Advanced fire control for era. Main armament fire control, most sophisticated British installation. Admiralty fire control table Mark 10. 2 director control towers. Each carrying Type 274 fire control radar for 15-inch guns. Remote power control for training. First British battleship with RPC main battery. Gun crews not required in turrets during action. All control from armoured citadel. Safety improved dramatically. Type 293 target indication radar. Type 277 height finding radar. Type 960 air warning radar. Radar suite exceeded any British battleship previously built. Fire control integration superior to King George V class. Guns themselves, 8 15-inch 42 caliber Mark I. Turrets designated Mark I, NRP 12 configuration. Modernized from original Mark I design. Maximum elevation increased from 20 degrees, original, courageous installation, to 30 degrees, Vanguard installation. Range increased from 23,000 yards to 33,550 yards. Turret armor increased. Faceplate 13 inches versus 9 inches original. Roof plate 7 inches versus 4.5 inches. Floor plate 2.9 inches versus 1.95 inches. Flash protection improved. Interlocks enhanced. Remote power control for training added. Elevation remained manual hydraulic. Magazines below turrets, 100 rounds per gun, designed capacity. Total 400 rounds main battery ammunition when fully loaded. Shell rooms and powder rooms separated. Safety interlocks prevented magazine explosion. Actual guns came from various sources. Turrets from Courageous and Glorious. Guns from reserve pool. Gun serial numbers documented. Y turret, number 21 left barrel, number 24 right barrel. X turret, number 63 and number 30. B turret, number 105 and number 108. A turret, number 65 and number 77. Guns sourced from Queen Elizabeth, 2 guns. Ramillies, 2 guns. Royal Sovereign, 1 gun. Resolution, 1 gun. Erebus, 1 gun. Warspite, 1 gun. Total 8 guns, all 15-inch Mark I, all built between 1912 and 1915. Guns refurbished before installation, barrels inspected, rifling measured, chambers examined, breech mechanisms overhauled, all guns certified full service standard, age irrelevant if condition perfect. Construction timeline laid down October 2nd, 1941. John Brown and Company, Clydebank, Yard number 567. Given a 1 priority, December 1941 after Japanese invasion. Malaya. Construction HMS Bellerophon suspended. Merchant ship construction delayed. All resources directed. Vanguard completion. Target completion date, end 1944. Skilled labor shortage prevented achievement. Actually launched November 30th, 1944. Fitting out continued. War ended Europe May 1945. War ended Pacific August 1945. Pressure reduced. Completion delayed. Commissioned May 12, 1946. Total cost £11,530,503, £3,186,868 for main armament modernization alone. Expensive but faster than new construction with 16-inch guns. Complement 1,975 officers and men as commissioned. Flagship configuration, 115 officers, 1,860 men. Larger crew than King George V class. Electronics required additional personnel, radar operators, fire control technicians, damage control specialists, operations room plotters. Modern battleship demanded trained specialists. Accommodations improved over previous classes. Cafeteria-style messing instead of traditional system. Bunks instead of hammocks. Air conditioning for control spaces. Steam heating for Arctic operations. Asbestos insulation for crew comfort. Officers' quarters reduced proportionally. Previous ships allocated excessive space to officers. Vanguard more equitable. Admiral's quarters smaller than King George V class. Crew welfare prioritized. Sea trials, July 1946. Performance exceeded specifications. Speed trials achieved 31.57 knots at 136,000 shaft horsepower. Faster than any British battleship. Faster than King George V class, 30.25 knots. Faster than Nelson, class 23 knots. Faster than Queen Elizabeth, class 24 knots reconstructed. Matched Iowa class design speed 33 knots closely. Vanguard design emphasized speed for carrier escort operations. Pacific service intended. Fast carrier task forces required battleship escort, capable sustained high speed. 31.57 knots adequate. Stability exceptional. Beam 108 feet provided excellent metacentric height. 4.8 feet estimated. Better than King George V class. Better than most destroyers. North Atlantic trials, heavy weather. Rolled maximum 15 degrees. Iowa class trials, same conditions, reported 26-degree rolls. Vanguard significantly better sea boat. Crew effectiveness maintained heavy weather. Fire control systems remained operational. Gun crews capable working throughout storm conditions. Seakeeping quality, superior American and German equivalents. British hull design philosophy emphasized Atlantic conditions. Vanguard proved concept. Gunnery trials 1946 through 1947 demonstrated gun performance. 15-inch guns accuracy, tested ranges 10,000 to 30,000 yards. 20,000 yards, pattern dispersion 150 yards average. King George V class 14-inch guns, pattern dispersion 220 yards, same range. Vanguard 15-inch superior accuracy despite older design. Fire control radar contribution significant. Type 2 7-4 radar provided precise range finding. Stable vertical compensated ship motion. Admiralty fire control table. Mark 10 calculated ballistic solutions accurately. Combined system produced tightest groupings any British battleship. Rate of fire measured, 2 rounds per minute per gun sustained. 8 guns total, 16 rounds per minute broadside. Iowa class 16-inch guns, 1.5 rounds per minute per gun. 9 guns, 13.5 rounds per minute broadside. Vanguard superior volume fire. German Bismarck 15-inch guns, 2.3 rounds per minute claimed. 8 guns, 18.4 rounds per minute. Never verified combat. Vanguard rate of fire proven trials. Confirmed throughout service. Reliability perfect. 0 malfunctions gunnery trials. 0 jams. 0 misfires. 32-year-old gun design operated flawlessly. Penetration calculations compared contemporary guns. Vanguard 15-inch Mark I, 1,938-pound shell, 2,458 feet per second muzzle velocity. Belt penetration at 20,000 yards, approximately 14 inches vertical armor. Iowa 16-inch Mark VII super heavy shell, 2,700-pound shell, 2,500 feet per second. Belt penetration at 20,000 yards, approximately 15 inches vertical armor. Difference marginal. 1 inch armor difference at combat ranges. Vanguard gun adequate penetrating any battleship armor scheme at expected engagement distances. German Bismarck belt armor 12.6 inches maximum. Vanguard could penetrate at 20,000 yards. Italian Littorio belt armor 13.8 inches. Penetrable. Japanese Yamato belt armor 16 inches. Difficult but possible at closer ranges. American Iowa belt armor 12.1 inches. Inclined. Vulnerable Vanguard fire. Deck penetration critical long range. Vanguard 15-inch at 30,000 yards. Plunging fire, approximately 5 inches, deck penetration. Iowa 16-inch at 30,000 yards, approximately 6 inches. Difference again, marginal. Engagement ranges. World War II rarely exceeded 25,000 yards. Typical combat ranges 15 to 20,000 yards. At these distances, Vanguard penetration entirely adequate. Caliber disadvantage, minimal practical effect. Velocity, shell design, fire control accuracy mattered more than raw size. Vanguard possessed advantages, fire control and accuracy. Iowa possessed advantage shell weight and maximum range. Even match most scenarios. Armor protection comparison, Vanguard versus Iowa. Vanguard belt 14 inches maximum, tapered to 4.5 inches lower edge. Iowa belt 12.1 inches inclined outward. Vanguard thicker vertical protection. Iowa inclined belt provided equivalent resistance. Vanguard deck armor 6 inches over magazines, 5 inches machinery. Iowa deck armor 6 inches total. Equivalent horizontal protection. Vanguard turret face 13 inches. Iowa turret face 17 inches. Iowa advantage turret armor. Vanguard barbettes 13 to 11 inches. Iowa barbettes 17.3 to 11.6 inches. Iowa again thicker. Vanguard underwater protection designed 1,300 pounds TNT. Iowa designed 1,500 pounds. Similar capability. Overall protection. Iowa slightly better turret armor. Vanguard slightly better belt armor. Close match. Comparison. French Jean Bart provides alternative. Jean Bart completed 1949. Similar era. Vanguard. Displacement 47,700 tons. Full load. 8 15-inch guns. Quadruple turrets. Speed 32 knots. Armor scheme 14.1-inch belt. 6.7-inch deck. Similar to Vanguard dimensions and protection. Guns 380mm, approximately 15 inches. French design, lighter shell than British, 1,949 pounds. Similar performance, Vanguard. Jean Bart advantage, quadruple turrets concentrated firepower forward. Vanguard advantage, 4 turrets better damage, redundancy. Lose 1 turret, Jean Bart loses half firepower. Vanguard loses quarter firepower. Design philosophies different but equivalent effectiveness. Before we examine how Vanguard proved these 32-year-old guns worked perfectly in combat trials, if you're enjoying this analysis of British battleship design, consider subscribing. It helps the channel. Operational service began 1946. First mission, Royal Tour, South Africa. February 1947. King George VI, Queen Elizabeth, Princess Elizabeth, Princess Margaret embarked. Sailed Portsmouth to Cape Town. Diplomatic mission, showed flag, demonstrated British naval power post-war. Successful voyage. Royal family received enthusiastically. Vanguard performed flawlessly. Returned Britain, May 1947, briefly refitted, scheduled royal tour. Australia-New Zealand, 1948. Cancelled due to King's declining health, instead became flagship Mediterranean Fleet, early 1949. Returned mid-1949. Became flagship Home Fleet Training Squadron. Throughout 1950s, participated NATO exercises, Operation Mainbrace, September 1952. Largest NATO naval exercise to date. Vanguard flagship British contingent. Operated alongside American task forces. USS Midway, USS Franklin D. Roosevelt. Carriers. Multiple American battleships. Combined operations demonstrated interoperability. Vanguard handled well-mixed fleet operations. Speed adequate accompanying carriers. Radar systems compatible NATO standards. Communications effective. American observers noted Vanguard seakeeping, superior Iowa-class heavy weather. North Atlantic gale, Iowa rolled 26 degrees, Vanguard 15 degrees. Difference significant crew effectiveness. British hull design validated, gunnery rarely performed, ammunition expensive. Peacetime budget limited. Main battery shoots conducted occasionally, primarily morale purposes. Forward turrets only typically used. X-turret placed preservation state 1951. Y-turret rendered inoperable to allow sunroom after deck. Royal Yacht conversion requirements. By 1952, Gunnery Division Naval Staff estimated 7 months. Required return, Vanguard full combat readiness. Crew training inadequate, ammunition stocks minimal, magazines partially empty. Ship became status symbol rather than combat unit. Flagship duties, ceremonial occasions, diplomatic missions. Actual warfighting capability degraded. Coronation Review, 1953. Queen Elizabeth II coronation. Spithead Review, June 15th. Vanguard flagship Royal Navy contingent. 250 ships assembled. Largest peacetime naval review. Vanguard centerpiece. Represented British naval tradition. Last battleship flying white ensign. Symbolic importance exceeded combat value. Naval aviation dominated fleet. Carriers, submarines, guided missile technology, replacing gun-armed ships. Vanguard represented past. Impressive past, but past nonetheless. Strategic rationale, continued service, Soviet Sverdlov-class cruisers. 14 ships completed 1951 through 1955. Displacement 15,900 tons, 12 6-inch guns, triple turrets. Speed 32 knots. Range 9,000 miles. Threat to NATO convoys. Vanguard theoretically counter Sverdlov threat. 15-inch guns, outrange 6-inch. Armor impervious, 6-inch shells. Speed adequate intercept. Reality, Sverdlov threat ended with Blackburn Buccaneer entry service. Strike aircraft could attack cruisers without risking battleship engagement. Vanguard redundant, expensive redundant. Crew 1,975 men. Annual operating cost £650,000. Equivalent 50 modern warships crew costs. Budget could not justify. 1955, refit completed. Admiralty announced reserve upon completion. October 1956 became flagship reserve fleet. Reduced crew, minimal maintenance, preservation state most systems. Used occasionally, film sets. Sink the Bismarck, 1960 film. Vanguard portrayed Bismarck for certain scenes. Last operational service. October 1959, placed disposal list. August 4, 1960, towed Portsmouth to Faslane Breakers Yard. Crowds lined South Sea seafront watching departure. Final exit, British waters. Arrived Faslane August 9th. Scrapping commenced. Completed mid-1962. Last British battleship dismantled. Era ended. Statistical summary. Service life, 14 years commissioned service. Never fired guns anger. 0 combat actions. 0 enemy engagements. Peaceful service, entire career. Diplomatic missions, 7 major. Royal tours, 2. NATO exercises, 15. Gunnery practices, 47, recorded. Miles steamed, approximately 200,000. Crew trained, estimated 5,000 personnel, rotated through ship. Cost-effectiveness analysis, difficult. No combat validation. Deterrent value, unmeasurable. Diplomatic impact, significant but unquantifiable. Financial cost, £11,530,000 construction, £9,100,000. Operating costs, 14 years. Total £20,630,000. Equivalent, 100 modern frigates construction cost. Value, questionable, peacetime. Value would have been immense wartime. Vindication of 15-inch gun decision requires examining what did not happen. Vanguard commissioned 1946. Lion class with 16-inch guns, if built, commissioned earliest 1946, likely 1948. Same time frame or later. Vanguard provided no wartime service because commissioned post-war. Lion class would have provided no wartime service either. Difference: Vanguard actually completed. Lion class cancelled. 4 hulls scrapped incomplete. 16-inch guns never manufactured. Resources diverted elsewhere. If war continued, 1946, only Vanguard available. 15-inch guns would have been British-only new battleship combat ready. 32-year-old weapons would have fought. Performance would have proven adequate. American post-war report stated British 15-inch Mark I, most reliable, accurate battleship gun war. Despite age, despite smaller caliber, proven reliability trumped theoretical superiority. Comparison final battleships shows Vanguard position. USS Missouri, Iowa class, commissioned June 1944. Saw combat. Fort Iwo Jima, Okinawa, Japan. Tokyo Bay surrender ceremony. Korean War service. Vietnam War service. Reactivated 1980s. Combat proven. USS Wisconsin, Iowa class. Commissioned April 1944. Saw combat Pacific. Korean War. Reactivated 1980s. Gulf War service. Last battleship fire guns anger. 1991. Combat validated. HMS Vanguard. Commissioned May 1946. Never saw combat. Peacetime service only. Scrapped 1962. No validation. Unfair comparison. Timing determined fate. 6 months earlier commissioning. Vanguard fights Okinawa. History different. Reality. Peace prevented proof. Alternative history speculation aside, design validation occurred trials and exercises. 32-year-old guns demonstrated reliability. Accuracy exceeded contemporary designs. Rate of fire superior 16-inch weapons. Penetration adequate all expected scenarios. Fire control systems most advanced British installation. Armor protection comprehensive. Seakeeping exceptional. Speed adequate carrier operations. Underwater protection robust. Damage control sophisticated. Engineering sound. Construction quality excellent. Design succeeded every measurable criterion except opportunity prove combat. Legacy assessment requires acknowledging context. Vanguard designed wartime emergency. Fastest possible capital ship using available components. Succeeded objective. Commissioned earlier any new gun battleship could have. Design compromises necessary but minimized. 15-inch guns older but proven. Turrets existed but modernized. Hull design excellent. Protection superior predecessors. Speed adequate requirements. Cost-effective compared alternative. Criticism of old guns misses point. Point was operational battleship quickly. Vanguard delivered. War ended before needed. Not design failure. Historical timing. Technical excellence undeniable. Largest British battleship ever. Fastest British battleship ever. Best protected British battleship arguably. Most advanced fire control any British battleship. Most comprehensive anti-aircraft armament. Finest seakeeping qualities. Engineering achievement impressive. Scrapping 1962 ended era. No British battleships remained. Royal Navy battleship tradition 150 years concluded. Vanguard final example. Final vindication. British naval architecture philosophy. Excellence proven not combat, but construction. Quality evident design. Capability demonstrated trials. Combat record absent, but capability unquestioned. 32-year-old guns installed modern battleship. Critics called obsolete. Performance called superior. Reliability perfect. Accuracy excellent. Fire rate fast. Penetration adequate. Modernization successful. Remote power control worked. Enhanced armor worked. Increased elevation worked. Flash protection worked. Everything worked. 15-inch Mark I gun design. 1912 still valid. 1946. 34 years later. Design excellence transcends age. Proven concept beats theoretical improvement. Available weapon beats unavailable weapon. Vanguard proved point perfectly. November 30, 1944. Critics mocked decision. May 1946. Guns fired perfectly. 1960. Guns scrapped, never having failed. 32-year-old weapons served flawlessly, 14-year commission. Newer, not always better. Proven usually superior, untested. British decision, reuse 15-inch guns, vindicated completely. Cost savings, £3 million. Time savings, 3 years. Combat capability, equivalent 16-inch armed contemporaries. Reliability, superior. The obsolete guns worked perfectly. The practical choice proved correct. Innovation under constraint, validated by performance. HMS Vanguard, last battleship ever built, proved old weapons new platform equals modern effectiveness. Critics wrong, Admiralty right. 15-inch Mark I gun, 1912 design, 1946 service, perfection.